guys, thanks for joining me live. My name is Holly Anderson, and today I'm going to share with you the first chapter of one of my books. It is a period romance. It takes place in the early 18th century, and before I read you this book, the first chapter, I want to tell you a little bit about my drawing that I'm doing. I'm really excited about. It's super easy to put your name in, and you can win up to $250. So how you do it is there's a link that is in this post. You click on the link to put your name and email in, and you're automatically entered to win $100. And then the next page will you can enter to win another $100 by sharing a video that talks about this drawing, and then you can also earn another $50, so up to $250, just by simply commenting on either one of my chapters that you read or you watch me read it. So I'm really excited about that, and I'll be drawing a name out of a hat at the end of April. And so if you want your name in there, click on the link and just put your name and email in. And I'm really excited about sharing my work with you guys. This first chapter, it was a lot of fun to write. My goal is to write in a bunch of different genres, and so this was my first official book that's a period romance. And I do love Jane Austen. I'm a big fan, so I kind of put it off thinking, oh, I can't do her, I'm not good enough. But it was a lot of fun to just kind of put yourself in that time period and think how those people would have thought. So thanks for joining me. And if you have any questions during this reading, just put them in there. I can see them. I also watch this after. So in case you're watching this movie after it's gone live and I'm done, please still post your questions and things like that, because I always look and I get notified, and I can answer your questions then too. So here's my first chapter. It's called Clara's Catch. Oh, sit up, dear. Act like a lady. Mamma's perfect grey curls bounce as she scolds me. They do that when she gets excited. You never know who might call on you, now that you are out in society. And what with so many gentlemen asking you to dance last night, why, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them were to call on you this afternoon. Mamma, I can hardly believe any of them would call before asking Papa's permission, I say, trying to sit up straight like I've been taught, tummy in, shoulders straight, neck high, knees together, and ankles crossed. So much has changed since my coming out, none of which has been in my favor. Oh, you are quite right, girl. They will write first to your father, if they know him at all. You will receive letters today, mark my word. Did I tell you how much Mr. Benson makes a year? Mamma, a true lady would not care how much money he makes. The heavens care how much money he makes. Mamma squeals like a little girl at a candy shop. I suppose it is unfashionable to talk of such money in public. But with your own mamma in the safety of our sitting room, I do believe we are quite safe. She sighs. I do find great pleasure in this simple room. I have many a happy memory sitting in this chair, receiving highly esteemed company. Do you remember when Lady Blake of Lakenham stayed for over an hour just to see my taste in tapestries? I do believe she was quite impressed. I am sorry, I cannot recall that time, Mamma. Nor would I want to. Sounds like an absolute waste of an hour. I look around our simple sitting room. 5 silent servants stand like statues next to large exquisite paintings adorning the walls. The ceiling stretches high above the tall draped windows and molded furniture that no one is allowed to touch. A grand pianoforte stands in the middle, demanding all attention. White and yellow carpets are scattered throughout, under each couch, table, and chair, carefully carved to perfection. I do believe this room is anything but simple. Now listen to me, dear. Mamma clutches an embroidered pillow in her lap. Music is your strongest virtue. Never be so bold as to volunteer to play or sing, of course, but you must turn the conversation to the topic of music at every opportunity. Every opportunity? Really, Mamma? I shake my head. I am in earnest, my dear. And how do you suppose I accomplish such a task? I ask. Oh, it is quite simple. If someone mentions something they are thankful for, you chime in with an expression of appreciation for the new pianoforte your father ordered for you. Papa, give me a pianoforte. The incredulous notion makes me laugh out loud. Oh, my dear, my ma goes on. We have one in every sitting room. I am sure your father will not notice if one happens to be missing when you are married. She waves her hand in the air, as if to fan away such a trifling matter. Oh, here's another way. She has another idea. You might casually mention the name of a new song you take great pleasure in singing. Someone will be sure to ask you to perform then. Mamma, I cannot be so bold. Indeed, I am not Eleanor. And thank heaven for that. I thought we'd never marry your sister off. Even with her £50,000. What a headstrong girl she is. And to think we had to keep you, our darling little Clara, cooped up with your dreadful studies till your older sister was finally married. Mamma, I say, I find great pleasure in my studies. I confess I find more comfort in a pianoforte than at any ball. I am indeed grateful for those years I spent with my books. They are but the happiest of my life, I insist. My dear Clara, she cups my chin in her soft hand. Of course, my dear, and your remarkable study of music will be to a great advantage in finding you a husband, of course. Obedience and timidness are indeed virtues men desire in a wife. I have high hopes for you to find a truly noble gentleman who will bring your family honour. As pretty as you are, you have no excuse. But, Mamma, we already have an honourable family. With Papa's travels to the Indies, his trade is honourable, is it not? Shush, shush, my dear. She grabs my hand and gives it a little squeeze. Do not worry yourself. Money is money, no matter how it comes. But if you were to attract a man of noble family connections, it certainly would do no harm. She pats my knee. Now straighten those shoulders of yours. Oh, we should have had you wear the pink dress. Blue is so last season. Though I must say, your white gown last night at the ball was positively stunning. We must have another made in similar fashion. I knew white would be the best colour for you at your first ball. I knew it would complement your light hair and blue eyes. Now, how many danced with you again last night? Tell me more details. The man in the navy coat was most attentive to you, was he not? And so tall. I roll my eyes. Mamma, I am sure my dowry is the only reason for my many dances last night. I did not sit but 5 minutes the entire evening. I was so tired. All I wanted to do was escape into the solitude of my own room, perhaps with a book. I told you everything on the ride home, Mamma. Please do not force me to talk of it again. Oh, but you were an angel. Did I not pick the right coloured dress for you? Of course you did, Mamma. You never fail me in the matters of fashion. In other matters, perhaps, but I will spare her my thoughts now. Mamma, can you truly believe a gentleman would be persuaded to marry or not marry for the colour of a dress? Truly, you cannot. We shall see when we count how many letters we receive this afternoon, asking your father for permission to visit and court you. Her neck is stretched higher than normal, which can only mean one thing. She believes she's right. There is no use arguing with her on the matter. A maidservant abruptly enters the room and walks briskly to Mamma's side. Madame, I want to inquire of the letters, and... Her hands tremble as she stumbles on her words. There There were letters, quite a few, all posted for the master. Yes, yes, Mamma does not try to contain her excitement. How many letters were there? Speak up, you twig. How many? 17, the servant says, jumping up and down. Mamma springs to her feet and grabs my hands, pulling me up. I stand in shock, as if I'd been shot, like a duck in mid-flight. The servant is shrieking and Mamma is crying, but their sound is muted to me. 17? They cannot all be for me. I have been out for no more than 6 days. I cannot marry yet. I am not ready to be a bride, a mistress of a grand estate, especially to any of the flippant men I danced with last night, all of who smelled strongly of tobacco and punch. With so many who ask me to dance, I cannot remember one name, let alone a face with a name. And now I am to marry one of them? Which one will I say yes to? I ask Mamma. My dear, Mamma pats the top of my head. Your father will be the one to decide that, not you. She embraces me, whimpering something about how Eleanor had only 3 letters after her first ball. Papa, might I speak with you? I hide half my face behind his doorway. Oh, what will he say? Who's there? Your daughter, Clara. I come into the light of his office door and curtsy low. One would expect a gentleman to know his own daughter's voice, but he has been overseas for most of my upbringing. It's a miracle he hasn't mistaken me for one of the servants and ordered me to fetch him a jug of brandy. Quite right, he says, without looking up from his desk. Come in, girl, what you have to say? I have an idea, Papa, but I do not know how you will think after I say it. I hide my trembling hands behind my back, pulling on my fingers. How about this, girl? He says. I will choose whether to become angry or not after I hear what it is you have to say, I look at the ground and shut my eyes. Why did I even come? Don't dawdle, girl. I haven't got all evening. I have some calls to make still. I take a deep breath. Since we are not yet decided on a particular suitor, might I have a choice in the matter? Have a say, I mean to say, you see, between the gentleman you approve of course. That sounds barbaric indeed. He rubs his chin, his eyebrows droop low, almost covering his dark eyes. Where in the right mind did you obtain such a foolish notion, girl? I don't have an answer for him. It was my idea. No, there have been many who have written for permission to call on you, my girl. He glances over at a pile of letters on his desk. I am sure, through no fault of your own, 50,000 is enough to draw attention to itself. He slides his spectacles on his pointy nose and picks up a letter from the top of the stack. Now, this one here I cannot have you marry because his uncle is in trade with a man who did me ill years ago. Now, tell me, how would you have known such an important fact like that? I realize my mouth is wide open. Not knowing how to answer such a ridiculous question, I merely shut it, staying quiet. Of course, you have no way of knowing all these suitors, who their families are, and how much money they have. His words are harsh and loud, and yet his demeanor seems calm and collected. I have already chosen who you are to marry. There will be no discussion on the matter. I gave you your dowry for this purpose alone, to gain the attention of those who are honorable. Words tempt at my lips. But out of those honorable men, shouldn't I have a say? Does he not know how my happiness hangs on this decision he made so quickly? No, I'd better not say a word. I must keep quiet, as I've been taught. Who is it, Papa? No matter. He will dine with us tomorrow evening. You will meet him then. He is of excellent fortune and temperance. I believe he will make for a good match." "Have I not yet made his acquaintance? Was he not at the ball last night?" "He was there. He mentioned seeing you. He did not ask you to dance, if that's your question. Now leave me. I have much to do still." Papa talks as if my life were merely business, as if I, his own daughter, was but another possession he must trade off. "Yes, Papa." I turn my heel and leave him. I walk down the long hall, out to the open veranda, and breathe in the salty air. The deck is thankfully void of servants, and I look longingly out into the silent sky over the blue ocean. What could Papa know of love? Mamma is nothing more than a pretty painting to him. I've seen how he shows her off to guests, and then later completely ignores her. Am I doomed to the same fate? Eleanor found someone who respects her, who cares for her. Oh, how I wish she were here now, and not to cross this huge sea. I wonder how she is faring in France. Most likely, she's already made friends and enjoys bossing hundreds of servants on her husband's large estate. She would know what I should do. Sent many a suit of packing, she did, until she found one she liked. How did she do it? I was never allowed to join her, since I was not officially out yet in society. I was not there to hear her conversations, to view her behavior, but I do remember the servants gossiping about her into the night. That's right. I remember now. The servants helped her. I run down the staircase, knowing exactly who will be able to tell me the details I so desperately need. "Cynthia," I call as I turn the corner into the kitchen. "Cynthia, I need you." "Miss Clara?" Cynthia's carrying a large pot, too heavy for her. Her brown hair is thick and tangled in a bun at the top of her head. "Cynthia, I fear I'm in trouble." "Trouble?" The pot in her chubby arms slips. "Not you." She struggles to place the black cauldron on a messy table. I step in to help, sliding away the herbs to make room for her pot. "I need you to tell me how my sister scared away her suitors. I must know." Cynthia's mouth closes tight, and her thin lips are hardly visible. But Lady Clara, I cannot. If your father were to find out..." "Papa has already decided on a husband for me. I am to meet him tomorrow evening. What if he is a monster who drinks too much and will beat me so? I must have a plan to dissuade him against me." "I am not certain I can help you." She eyes her table covered in strong-smelling herbs and plants. "Cynthia, I may not have to send him packing. Perhaps he will be all right after all, but just in case I need to. You know, Papa, you know the suitors he brought for Eleanor. One was so old, his hair was completely white. I do believe he was older than Papa." "All right, miss, but you mustn't tell anyone, or I'll lose my place here for sure. I'll be ruined and sent away." No, I will not allow it. I promise. Now tell me, how did she do it?" Cynthia takes a deep breath, and her small brown eyes peer at me. "It is in the drink, miss," she says, glancing nervously from side to side. "I can brew it up, miss, but your job is to make sure he drinks all of it." And that's the end of the first chapter. There's a little mystery there at the end. But so thank you so much for joining me. And that was my first chapter of my period romance called Clara's Catch. And I love watching you guys. I love watching, who's watching me and stuff. Thank you so much for joining me. And I appreciate your support. And I am so excited to share with you my work. I've got one more first chapter coming up. It'll be next month, and I'll share that the same way live on Facebook. And make sure to check out the link that's connected to this post. Thanks, Denise, for wanting to read more. She just wrote that. Awesome. Thanks, Tamara, for watching it too. And I love your little posts. Thank you. And then if you go to the link that's on this post, then it'll take you right to the page where you can put your name and email in, and you'll automatically be entered to win. And I'll put your name in the drawing at the end of April. So thanks so much. We'll see you soon.